Okay, we are live. All right, good evening to everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I want to say welcome to every single person. If you are streaming us live from Facebook, I want to say welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. And if you are streaming live from YouTube, I also want to say thank you. And we don't take your presence for granted tonight. Trust me, you are amazing. Is the reason why you are here tonight. You want to be here. You are here to learn. Is the reason why you are here tonight, right? You are not here for probably because a friend invited you to be here, right? If that's part of the reason, but you are here because you want to learn, right? You are here because you want to learn. You know, people are really familiar with this idea of writing a new year resolution when it comes to the end of a particular year. But here's something I've discovered over time, that what you need is not really a new year resolution. What you need is a trans information into the new year. So what do I mean by the word trans information? You need a specific you need a specific information that is going to position you into next year, right? It's more about self preparedness. It's more about getting ready for what is about to happen next year. It's more about getting your mind set and ready for what is coming next year, right? In the coming year. So that's the reason why you are here tonight. Is not because we want to teach you guys or we want to talk about how to get a New Year resolution, how to get a New Year resolution written, right? But probably to position your mind for the coming year. And here on screen, I have Mr. Emmanuel Awa with me. Thank you so much for joining and for coming in tonight, sir. Your presence is not taken for granted.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you for having me.
my
Thank
amazing audience and viewers, once again, if you are streaming live on YouTube, do me a favor, share the link with a friend. Tell a person to be here. Don't just be here alone. All right, the knowledge is not just for you alone, it's for every single person you know, every single person you know who wants to learn, who wants to learn something new, something, who wants to get something updated, right? So share the link with a friend. And if you are streaming live on Facebook, do the same thing. Do me a favor by sharing the link with a friend that you know or your family member. All right, your brother, your sister can be here tonight. No one is excluded. All right, most especially if you are a young leader, an entrepreneur, or a leadpreneur. This night session is for you. You cannot afford to miss what is about to happen tonight, right? It is not about writing a New Year resolution. It is more about trans information. And I explain what this trans information means, right? It's about getting your mind prepared for what is about to hit you next year. All right. If you don't want next year to hit you unaware, it is now you need to start preparing your mind for what is coming. All right. So once again, thank you so much for joining. I don't take your time for granted. And we'll dive into the session now. Right, we dive into the session. My first speaker is Mr. Emmanuel Awa, who's going to be taking us on a tour. Right, he's going to be taking us on a tour. He's going to be dealing with a very specific discussion tonight. Right, and this is something you need to pay attention to. He's not here for fun. He's here to elaborate the minds of people. He's here to educate the minds of people. He's here to inform the minds of people. He is also a leadership coach, all right? And I can't just wait to witness what is about to happen tonight, all right? So, Mr. Emmanuel Awa, but before you start your session, before you go on, sir, I quickly want to share something with the viewers. Um, Let me share the screen. Okay. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Okay, so tonight we are discussing about the sole purpose of trans information. The sole purpose of trans information. And here on the screen, you have me, you have Mr. Emmanuel Awa, you have Mr. Samuel Odu. Although Samuel Odu is going to be joining us anytime soon, just get your fingers crossed. Okay, so who is Mr. Emmanuel Awa? Who is Mr. Emmanuel Awa? Emmanuel Awa is a leadership coach and a business strategist and also a member of PSA community. He is dedicated to helping people unlock their full potential in life and business. His influence spreads across Africa and Asia, having trained hundreds of people from different is ready to elevate your leadership skills and make a lasting impact. As a seasoned leadership coach with a passion for developing exceptional leaders, he specializes in empowering individuals to maximize their potential, drive organization success, and foster high-performing teams. Emmanuel Awa brings a genuine passion for fostering authentic leadership and creating inclusive work cultures. If he firmly believes that effective leadership goes hand in hand with empathy, not sympathy, right? Interesting. Collaboration and a growth mindset. All right. I want to welcome Mr. Emmanuel on board. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And yep, so you can go on with your session and let's see what you have for us tonight. God bless you.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very grateful for this great privilege to be on this with you and this friend Samuel. Thank you so much for putting things together. Thank you so much for living a life of purpose, a life that will transform other people. Thank you so much for having me tonight. My name is Emmanuel Lawal. There's no need for me to go into who I am and what I do. They've said it all. So let me just dive straight into the program today. Let me dive straight into my topic today. I'll be talking about the qualities of leading leaders. The qualities of leading leaders. The qualities of leading leaders. Can you hear me clearly now? I would like to know if you can hear me clearly. I
You
think your
go to
mic
headset.
is muted. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Mhm. All right. Can you hear me properly now?
It's better now, yeah. It's okay.
It's better, right? Okay. So we're talking about the qualities of a leading leader. The qualities of a leading leader. John Maxwell said something very, very important. He said, everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. When there is a complaint about a thing, check the leadership. When something is not going right in an institution or in an organization, check leadership. When some certain things are not going right in your life as an individual, check your personal leadership because leadership starts with you first before you can bring it to the organization, before you can bring it to your business, before you can bring it to your workplace or career. So I'll be talking about the qualities of leading leaders. And these qualities are, they are not new to us. They are not new to us. But because they are not new to us, we sometimes overlook them. We overlook them and we do not give proper attention to them. So, to start with, uh, when you become a leader, the first thing that you try to do is to communicate. One of the basic responsibilities of a leader is to communicate, is to clearly communicate and communicate the vision and the goal to other people, and to be transparent with the strategy for achieving those goals. Communication is about passing information to the second party in a way that the person will understand. And you know, when you are communicating, it is important to get feedback. If you don't get the right feedback for your communication, that means there is something wrong with your communication. So that is why one of the leading traits, one of the qualities of leading leaders is communication. They know how to communicate effectively. I am a man of faith, and I would like to go into the scriptures and use Moses as a case study. When God called Moses and he asked him and said that he should go to the land of Egypt to meet his people, that he has heard their cry, he should go to Pharaoh and to tell him that he should allow his people to go. You see, Moses had to communicate this to the people of Israel and to Pharaoh. And if we are students of the Bible, we will know how much of a good communicator Moses was. He had communication issues, like he was a stammerer. However, he was able to communicate to his mouthpiece, who was Aaron. So he was able to communicate to somebody who could understand him easily. And through that person, the information was clear, the vision was clear, what they wanted to do was clear. So communication, effective communication, is one of the traits or qualities of a leading leader. Another thing that I would like to talk about, which is the second, is empathy. Empathy. You see, empathy is different from sympathy. Let's say, for example, somebody dies in my neighborhood and I go uh, to their house to mourn with them, and while I am there, I'm just like, oh, sorry, I'm so sorry you lost him, I'm so sorry with everything that you tried, I'm so sorry you lost him. I know, just trying to console the person. That is sympathy. But with empathy, the difference is this: empathy brings about solution. Empathy brings about solution. Let's take Jesus for example. There was a time Jesus was in the city, he was in the town, and you know they brought a certain woman to Jesus Christ and was like, she was found in adultery. And you know, people were ready to, pass their judgment on, showed empathy. That's right. I don't know if you can still hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? So I don't know. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if you can hear me. So Jesus Christ showed empathy, and he was like, okay, if you know that you are without sin, be the first person. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Akinfala Olamide. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. So he said, if you know that you are without sin, be the first to cast the stone. Be the first to cast the stone. And gradually they all withdrew themselves. I know Jesus Christ reached out to the person and was like, okay, I know that you committed a grievous sin, but your sins are forgiven. Go and sin no more. You see, the lady did not leave that place with the same problem. She left the place knowing that her sins are forgiven. How does this translate to leadership? When people go through traumas, when people go through issues and they come to you, do they leave you as a better person? By the time you finish your conversation with them, do they leave as a better person, or they leave with that same trouble? So a leading leader has empathy. A leading leader has empathy. That is, beyond the fact that you sympathize with other people, you also solve the problem. So we can link this to what? Problem solving. Problem solving. A leading leader has this quality. They have empathy, they sympathize with people, and they solve their problem. Let's say you are in the office and you are like, let's even say you are not even a leader. You know that leadership is not about your post or your role in an organization. Leadership is about your lifestyle. You can be in an organization and you notice some things and you step in to make the change. Let's say you are in the office and you saw your boss, the mood of your boss was not looking like the usual one, and you walk to your boss and you're like, boss, are you fine? The boss say, I'm fine, it's just that this, it's just that. As a leader, you are not just like, oh sorry, na everybody dey face challenges, it is well, and you just go. What you have done is you just sympathize with her. But a leader will say, wow, I understand what you are feeling at this present moment. However, I want you to know that this, I want you to know that that, you know, open the person's eyes to see the things that the person is not seeing at that moment. And oftentimes, you don't need to do much. You just need to open the person's eyes to the things that is presently going well in that person's life. You show empathy. So empathy is very crucial, it's very important. Without empathy, your leadership will be faulty. Without empathy, your leadership will be faulty. So leaders with empathy understand and connect with the emotions of their team members. They show genuine concern, consider different perspectives, and make decisions that take into account the well-being of individuals. So if you can take notes, take these notes. When well-being is taken away from your empathy, it's no longer empathy because you are not solving any problem. So let's go to the third quality. The third quality is strategic vision. Thank you, please, Omotosho. Thank you so much for the feedback. The second point is strategic vision. Strategic vision. Leaders are not people who are short sighted. Leaders are not people who are limited by the things that go on in their environment. Leaders are people who have vision just like an eagle. Vision just like an eagle. So a leader can just be in a place and can have the vision of the things that will happen. who are thought leaders in business, people who are thought leader in cryptocurrency, people who are thought leader in politics. And you know, they will come to you and they will tell you, the next 6 months, this person will lose this election. And it's because of this, because of this. They have a vision of what is about to happen. Now, a vision is the mental picture for the future. A vision is the mental picture for the future. Now, a leader now has the responsibility to communicate that vision to other people and to make sure that they run with it. So leaders are people with strategic vision. Leaders are the people that you will meet them and they will be giving you step by step guidelines on how to work or how to pattern your life to have the kind of results that you desire. These are leaders. When you engage them, they will begin to tell you things that you yourself will be feeling like, "Ah, I've not thought about this thing before." It's because what? They've trained themselves to think for others. You cannot have strategic vision if you cannot think for other people. You know, there is something that is very popular when you tell people that, okay, please pray for me. They will say, "Ah, even my own prayer, I've not prayed it finish." You are not saying that I should be praying for you. So they think for other people, they see things that is meant to happen. And we have example. Example is someone like Joseph. Example is someone like Joseph. Joseph had that strategic vision. I know with strategic vision comes wisdom. With strategic vision comes wisdom. Let me explain. When you are a leader and you have strategic vision but lacks wisdom, you will need a leader who has wisdom for you to progress. You know, when Joseph was taken captive and was taken to Egypt, and the king had a dream, and he was restless and he was like, "What sort of dream is this?" You know, that dream is like a strategic vision. Spiritually, it is spiritual inclined. Now, he had no wisdom to interpret. He had no wisdom to demystify the vision. But here is Joseph, who had the strategic vision and has the wisdom with it. He was the one that was able to break the dream down and say, "Okay, sir, this is what your dream means. This is what your dream is talking about. This is what we should do." And you know, when he explained the dream, they were like, "How do we move on from here? What can we do? What can we do? How do we move on from here?" And it was like, who will take charge of these things? And you know, at the end of the day, they said, "Well, it is you. You who had the wisdom to interpret the dreams that no one could interpret. You will be the one to take care of this situation." And we all know what happened after that. So it is important for us to know that leading leaders have a clear vision for the future and they can align their team towards common goal. They can align their friends towards this common goal. They can align their organization towards this common goal. They possess strategic thinking, forecasting trends, and making informed decisions to ensure long-term success. To ensure long-term success. If you are getting value, please drop fire emoji. Let me know that you are following me. If you are getting value, please drop fire emoji. Let me know that you can hear me. Amen. Okay. Let's move on. Another quality is adaptability. Adaptability. If you cannot adapt to changes, you are not a leader that should lead. You still have a lot to learn. If you cannot adapt to changes, you are not a leader that should lead just yet. You still have a lot to learn. Because with leadership comes a lot of changes. Unless you learn how to adapt to these changes, you will fail in your leadership. There was a time that uh, this phone, BlackBerry, was so popular, and everybody wanted to use a BlackBerry. Everybody wanted to ping. Everybody wanted to ping and collect their friends ping. I don't know how they used to call it. I never used a BlackBerry. But everybody wanted to ping then. But BlackBerry could not adapt to changes. So when iPhone, the Apple, they came up with phones with screens, saying that let's even get rid of this QWERTY keypad. Let's do a phone with screen that people can do everything on the screen. BlackBerry said no, that they will not change their keyboard. That everybody should be chatting, should be pressing phone with keyboard. Android quickly follow suit. They adapted to the change. Now, BlackBerry, where is BlackBerry now? Where is BlackBerry now? Now, in politics, when we have leaders who can't adapt to changes, they will they will they will allow their followers to suffer. When we have leaders who cannot adapt to changes, their followers will suffer, their organization will suffer, they, their family will suffer. So adaptability is a quality of a leader. Going into the scripture, we know Paul the apostle, he was a vibrant preacher of the gospel. But because Paul can adapt to any season, to any condition, he preached in different places. In places that is the culture is different, in places that their belief system is different. Even while Paul was in the prison, he adapted to that prison. He knew that he would not have access to the crowd. What was he doing? He was busy writing. That is a leader. A leader is not limited by the situation. A leader is not limited by the circumstances. A leader adapts. A leader adapts. So when you are going through situations and you find it difficult to adapt, you will find it difficult to survive. Until you learn how to adapt, no matter the situation, no matter the circumstance, no matter the issues of life, you will suffer in your leadership. A leader must always learn to adapt because with adaptability comes progress. When you do not adapt, you are stagnant. I know there is this it's not a common saying that it's either you move forward or you move backwards. In life, you don't stay on the spot. And why is it so? It's because change is always constant. So if you are not changing, you are going back. You are not on the same spot. So a leader must adapt. So adaptability is one of the qualities of a leading leader. And for you to be able to adapt, no matter the situation you find yourself, it has a lot to do with your mindset. It has a lot to do with your mindset. has a lot to do with your mindset. So, in a rapidly changing world, adaptability is crucial. Leading leaders are flexible and are able to navigate uncertainties. They encourage a culture of innovation and they are open to adjusting strategies. They are not stagnant. See, I support a club. The name of my club is Manchester United. We are going through a lot at the moment. And one of the reasons why I think we are going through a lot is because our leaders have refused to adapt. Our coach is saying this is the way, this is how I want you to play like that, even though the players cannot play like that, even though you don't have the resources to play that kind of football. You are saying no, just play like that. And that's why we are being flogged. We have another match tonight. It's only God that knows what will happen. So adaptation is very important. Another quality is decisiveness. Decisiveness. A leader is not somebody that when it comes to making decisions, the leader will be parabolating up and down. You will not know what he wants to do, or she will not know what he wants to do. A proof that you are leading a good life is that you take your decisions promptly and you take the right decisions. You need to be decisive. When you are not decisive, you will be controlled by external forces. When you are not decisive as a leader, you will be controlled by external forces. That is, you will not be able to make your own decisions. It is other people that will make your decisions for you. Other people will make your decisions for you. You will not be able to make your own decisions. You will struggle because you are not decisive. So effective leaders make timely decisions, they weigh options, they gather necessary information and act decisively, instilling confidence in their team and maintaining momentum in the face of challenges. Maintaining momentum in the face of challenges. It means that they don't allow themselves to be overwhelmed by the challenges. But even in all of the challenges, they are constantly making decisions to adapt and to succeed. They are constantly making decisions to adapt and to what? To succeed. So far we've talked about a leader must be an effective communicator. A leader must be able to empathize beyond the ability to sympathize. A leader must be able to empathize. A leader must have strategic vision. A leader must be able to adapt to the condition. A leader must be decisive. A leader must know where he stands. A leader does not stand on the fence. That is who a leading leader is. That is a quality of a leading leader. Another thing is ability to inspire others. Leading leaders, they have the ability to inspire others. And because they have the ability to inspire others, they have the ability to inspire change. They have, it's not motivation now, inspiration. Leaders have the ability to inspire others, and because they have the ability to inspire others, they have the ability to inspire change, long-lasting change. Leading leaders inspire others through their actions and words. That is, their action and words cannot be separated. Whatever they say is what they do. So they inspire others through that. Also, they set positive examples. They motivate their teams and create a shared sense of purpose that encourages individuals to go beyond their limits. You know, when you have some people, they are afraid of failing in their lives. When you are in that loop of fear of failure, you cannot make those drastic steps of your life. You cannot make those decisions that are very painful but will give you long lasting rewards. You are lacking in your leadership, you are lacking your personal leadership. And at that point in time, what you need is what? A leader to help you. A leader to help you, to inspire you. You know, and when a leader inspire others, inspire change, empowerment happen. This is my next point. This is my next point. A leader has the ability to empower others. Leaders are not stingy people. Leaders are not stingy people. They seek to inspire others. They seek to empower others. Like right now, you are on this conference, you are learning, there's an empowerment going on to you, there's a mind shift. And I know by the time you finish from this conference, you are going to achieve great things in life and also become a better person. It's not about the theory, it's about the action. So even as this lecture is going on, you should be able to know, okay, what are the things that are affecting my leadership? What are the things that are affecting the quality of my leadership? When you know them, you will now decide to be decisive. That is, you decide to stop those things that are affecting your leadership. Then you begin to ask yourself another question. What can I do to be better as a leader? When you determine or you now know what to do to be better as a leader, you begin to do them. So it is very important. It is very important. So a leader empowers others. A leader empowers their team by delegating responsibilities. A leader does not say he wants to do everything. If you are saying you want to do everything, you become better, and others are just there, they are just watching. How do you empower them to also be skillful people, to also be responsible people? So a leader delegates responsibilities to other people so that they can also be better. They can also be better. And when you are a leader and you receive some sort of delegation, when somebody delegates a responsibility to you, don't see it as a load or a burden. See it as an opportunity to improve. That shows that you are a leader in your present state. That shows that you are a leader in your present state. So leaders, they empower others, they recognize and develop the strength of their members, and they contribute meaningfully to their organization. They contribute meaningfully to the organization. Another quality is integrity. When a leader says yes, it is yes. When a leader says no, it is no. When a leader says mm-mm, it is mm-mm. When a leader say it is what? Ah. So a leader is a person of integrity. A leader does not say yes today and tomorrow he will say no. A leader is a person of integrity. Is a person that is worth following. Is a person that is worth following. Integrity is the foundation of trust. Without integrity, they cannot. Integrity is the what? Foundation of trust. Even as leaders, we are in the business of what? Of building trust. So integrity is sacrosanct. We are in the business of building trust. So integrity is very important. You can't do without it. You need to challenge yourself to be true to yourself and to be true to other people. You cannot be true to other people unless you are true to yourself first. O man, to thyself be true. As a leader, you can't function as a chameleon. You won't get loyal followers that way. You won't get people who are loyal to your organization that way. You won't get vibrant team members that way because integrity is not there. So in the next 3 minutes, I would like to rush things so that I will allow the second the floor. So leading leaders consistently uphold ethical standards, demonstrating honesty, transparency in all that they do. So let's move to the next point, humility. As a leader, one of the qualities is humility. You are not proud. You are not proud. Let me give you an example. There was a time Jesus Christ was with his disciples and he was like, oh, yeah, yeah, give me the bowl of water and throw away. I want to do something now. I want to do one soft work now. He said, oh, yeah, all my disciples, bring forth your legs. I am about to wash your feet now. And the disciples brought forth their feet. And one of them was saying, that, no, 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 I will not allow you to wash my feet. Why will you be washing my feet? You are our Oga. Why will you be doing what? And Jesus Christ said, if you do not allow me to wash your feet, you have no power in me. You have no part in me. That means you are not even part of this organization. You are not part of this team. You have no way. And the kingdom of God for you to say is shaking. So a leader is humble. And as a leader, you are called to serve. That's your work. You are called to serve. It's not about you achieving or getting accolades, getting money, getting recognition, getting awards. These are byproducts. But number one thing that you must do is to serve. See, when you serve and you get recognition, when you serve and you get awards, when you serve and people honor you with their gifts, then you know that you are worthy of all those benefits. But if you are not serving and you want to have all those things, you are a thief. I'm sorry if I'm breaking it in a way that is harsh, but that's just the way it is. So the last point I would like to talk about as I round up is a leader learn continuously. A leader does not stop learning. If you are here and you find it difficult to learn, you find it difficult to read books, you find it difficult to attend conferences like this, you find it difficult to listen to podcasts, your leadership is shaking because we lead only by what we have equipped our minds with. As a leader, we give a lot, and we cannot give what we do not have. So, as a leader, you enjoy continuous learning and improvement. Leading leaders invest in their personal development. They stay informed about their industry and they seek feedback along the way. They seek feedback along the way. So it's not as if you are just learning, and giving, and you are not getting feedback. You need to know what you are doing right and what you are not doing right. So as a leader, if nobody can walk up to you and say, my oga, I think you should do it this way. I think you are not doing it right this way. Then you need to caution yourself as a leader. Am I doing this thing right? So I'll bring it to a close here. And I don't know the way we will entertain the questions. Maybe we have the questions now or maybe later. Well, today let me just give you a recap. The qualities of leading leaders is number one. Number one is that what they are effective communicators. They communicate. Number two, they adapt very fast. Number three, they learn continuously. Number four, they empathize with other people. Number five, They are decisive. Number six, they have integrity. Number seven, they are humble. They are very humble. They are not proud. Number eight, they empower other people. Number nine, they inspire other people. And lastly, they have the vision of an eagle and the mind of a lion. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. Over to you, Professor David.
Why such a title? Why calling me professor? All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel, for such an intriguing session. That was amazing, right? That was amazing. As you were talking, I think one of the things I'm going to be taking on tonight is the fact that leaders are good communicators. Leaders communicate. You can't say you're a leader and not communicate with your team. You can't say because you're a leader, then you don't to engage in meaningful conversation with your team members, or probably with the people who claim to call you a leader, or probably with the people who believe in your capacity and your ability to lead. When it comes to leadership, it says something very vital, that's so vital to me, that you must learn how to delegate tasks, right? I remember when I started my leadership journey, one thing I'd love to do ever since I started was to delegate stuff. Right. It was a bit challenging at first because I was thinking of, oh, I hope I'm not stressing these guys. I hope I'm not telling them to do what they are not capable of doing. But at some point, I got to realize that in life, as a leader, you've got to stretch yourself. You've got to flap your wings. I mean, no matter what is going to take you, just make sure you develop boldness in everything you do as a leader. We are live here tonight. It takes some level of boldness to be here, right? We are speaking to audience we've not even seen before. Some probably have not seen them before, right? But they're here live listening to what we are saying tonight. You know, you've got to develop that spirit of boldness as a leader, you know, when it comes to leading people, right? It spoke about the qualities of leading leaders. The qualities a leading leader needs to needs to imbibe in order to lead people. So if you are here tonight, like I said before we start the session, right? Are you a young leader? Are you a leadpreneur? Are you an entrepreneur? Do you aspire to become a leader? This session is for you. You cannot say you want to lead people and not learn what it means to communicate. Go and ask Moses. Moses struggled with communication, right? God had to assist him, send his brother to him, who was Aaron. So, do you want to live your life like that? Do you want to replicate the example of Moses, who couldn't communicate better, who was scared to even speak to Pharaoh, right? So, as a leader, you must imbibe the habit of communication. Be an effective communicator. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel. That session was probably what I was looking for tonight, and you mostly set my mind tonight, right? Because we are talking about trans information, right? I said, people are so in tune with the idea of writing New Year resolutions. It is not really about writing a New Year resolution. It is mostly about trans information. That is, you need to get the right information that will position you right for the year to come. So that's the purpose and that's the essence we're having this session tonight, right? You need the right information that's going to position you as a leader for the coming year. I overheard from one of my mentors online. He said, past ideas cannot solve the problems of today. If you want to solve the problems of today, you need a new set of information. You need a new idea. You need clarity of purpose, clarity in mind, right? And information that is going to transition you as a person or as a leader in order to lead your people effectively. All right. I hope our second speaker is here. But if he's not here, I'm going to be speaking next, and I'm going to be sharing my screen tonight. All right, I'm going to be sharing my screen tonight. Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel. And I think someone wants to ask you a question, but that would probably be after the session. All right, you can keep your question in mind, and once we're done with the session, we attend to every single questions dropped on the section box. All right, thank you so much. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. I'll be speaking next, and Here I go, or here I come. All right. But before I go live, let's have a minute break and we will be right back. Thank you. Don't go nowhere. Stay tuned. God bless you. I can't wait to see your comments. If you can hear me loud and clear, please help drop your comment. If you can hear me loud and clear, help drop your comment. I can't wait to see your comment. Yes, you can hear me. All right. So before I go live with my session, I want to encourage you again to help me share the link with a friend. If you are streaming live on YouTube, share the link with a friend. If you are streaming live on Facebook, share the link with somebody you know. Someone you know is someone you know that wants to learn, that wants to really learn. And if you're a leader, congratulations, you're in the right place and you're in the right spot. All right. So I'm going to be sharing my screen, and what do I have for us tonight? What do I have for us tonight? All right. So let's dive in. Let's dive in. Let's dive in. Let's dive in. Welcome once again to the program, the sole purpose of trans information. The sole purpose of trans information. All right. Mr. Imane just concluded his session, and I am going next. the sole purpose of trans information. My name is Daini David. I am a thought leader and a custodian by many. One of my utmost desire and vision is to have top tier global action figures born. Leaders who have the confidence to to make tough choices, the fortitude to act on those choices, the authenticity to be true to who they are at their core, and the willingness to train others to transform their world. So one of my vision as a body, one of my vision as as an organization, one of my vision as government is to have top tier global action figures born. And when you talk about top tier global action figures, you are talking about leaders who are willing to train people, leaders who are willing to transform lives as they transform souls. So that's one thing I represent. I am a global leading leader and a thought leader and a custodian by many. So Danny Davis leadership, that is what I represent. That is what I do. And my organization motto is think global, say global, lead global. You think global, we train you to see global, and we train you to lead global. Because you cannot transform a nation if you are not seeing globally. You cannot transform a people if you are not seeing globally. You cannot even transform self if you are not seeing globally. To transform a nation, you've got to see globally. To transform people, you've got to see globally. So think global, see global, and lead global. Welcome to the sole purpose of trans information, why leading leaders are needed in our nations, families, institutions, and religious organizations. Why leading leaders are needed in our nations, families, institutions, and religious organizations. Now, what is the meaning of the word transformation? What is the meaning of the word transformation? Number one, it means the act of process of transforming, the act of process of transforming. Number two, the state of being transformed, right? That is transformation. It says the state of being transformed. Then number three says change in form, appearance, nature, or character, right? I said you don't need a resolution into the new year. You need trans information. You need information that will prepare you into the year coming, right? And now, what is the meaning of trans information? Trans information is the process and act of learning to realign yourself with your purpose. It is a process by which you become spiritually nurtured and certified to transition people by transforming them. Understand that when it comes to transitioning people, you've got to transform them first. Now, I come to a term that says you cannot transition without being transformed. So if you want to move into the next, you must be a transforming agent. You must be transformed in order for you to transition. More so, you must be transformed in order for you to transition people. Okay, let's dive in. My topic tonight is the brand concept of leadership. That's what I'm going to be focusing on tonight. The brand concept of leadership. I'm Danny Davids once again. I am the lead creative at the Danny Davids Leadership, the brand concept of leadership. Now, I'm going to be sharing with us tonight things you need to know as a leading leader and things you need to know as a leading agent. More also, things you need to know as a family man, because one day you're going to be a family man. One day you're going to give birth to a kid. One day you're going to be training a child. One day you're going to be training your son. You're going to be training a daughter. So, what are the things you need to know as a leader? A leader who fails to learn will lead to fail. Understand that a leader who fails to learn will lead to fail. Number two, a leader who is teachable is most likely to direct distinctfully. Let me say this again. A leader who is teachable is most likely to direct distinctively. Number three, a leader who embraces process is most likely to function effectively than the perfectionist who is goal oriented. Have you seen a scenario where a leader is more goal oriented, right? Now, leaders who are goal oriented achieve or accomplish less than leaders who are process oriented. So, as a leading leader, you must be process oriented rather than being a perfectionist, right? Rather than being goal oriented. Number four, real leaders focus on growth. than they focus on goals. I'm going to say this again. Real leaders focus on growth than they focus on goals. Number five, leaders who knows their area of influence tend to lead better. Now, this line is most important because you need to know the reason why you need to function as a leader. You must know the reason why you need to operate distinctively as a leader, right? Because you cannot influence outside of who you are. Do you get my point? You cannot influence as a leader outside of who you are. You cannot influence effectively as a leader outside of your original being. You cannot influence effectively as a leader outside of what you represent. So leaders who knows their area of influence tend to lead better. A leader who fails to be corrected will instruct others wrongly. Let me say this again. A leader who fails to be corrected will instruct others wrongly. Listening leaders pay attention to warnings. Listening leaders pay attention to warnings. As a leader, you've got to imbibe the habit of listening. You must imbibe the habit of listening. Don't just be on the front line to want to talk and talk and talk so people can hear you. You must also be a listening leader. Open your ears wide open to listen to what people have to say. The more you know as a leader, the better you influence others. The more you know as a leader, the better you influence others. Now, what do I mean by brand concept? Understand, I'm talking about the brand concept of leadership, right? The brand concept of leadership. So, what do I mean by brand concept? That is the idea behind your brand as a leader. What kind of brand do you carry as a leader? What kind of aura do you carry as a leader? Right? The idea behind the brand. Right? Number two, the philosophy that governs it. Now, there is a philosophy that should govern your brand as a leader. There is a philosophy that governs my organization. There is a philosophy that governs my leadership brand as a leader. So, what philosophy governs what you do? Even if you are a young minister, what philosophy governs your ministry? What philosophy governs your family? There has to be a philosophy. When I use the word philosophy, I mean an idea, right? A knowledge, a spiritual knowing that governs what you do. Now, number three, the knowledge that governs your brand. Number four, character that exemplify the taste and the weight of your brand. There has to be a character. You must represent the body of a thing that when people see you, they know you to be who you are. They don't know you by what you do, but they know you to be who you are. Number four, right? Wisdom that embodies your brand. There has to be a wisdom that embodies your brand as a leader. Let me say this again. There has to be a wisdom that embodies your brand as a leader. Now, the next point says the psychological aspect of your brand, the psychological aspect of your brand. The next point says the vision your brand foretells. What kind of vision does your brand tells? What kind of vision does your brand carries? Right? There has to be a vision in view as a leader. Now, this is what you want. This is how you want to transform people. This is who you want people to be by transforming them and transitioning them into the next, right? The statement it entails. What statement does your brand entails as a leader? What statement does your brand entails as a leader? We're going to be looking at all this tonight. And there is something I call the brand concept of leadership, and there is one I call the SM, which symbolizes self. It symbolizes self. Maximization. You've got to maximize yourself, right? Now, SM, there is one I call VIZ, which is visualization. There is one I call the POS, positioning, and there is one I call CUL, which is the culture, right? So in self maximization, you have self discovery, right? As a leader, you need to self discover yourself. Understand, we're talking about the brand concept of leadership. Self discovery must come first. If you want to lead people, you must first identify who you are. If you want to lead a generation, you must first identify who you are. If you want to lead a family, you must identify who you are. So self discovery is essential in your journey as a leader. The next point is desire. What exactly do you desire? Don't desire for the wrong things. As a leader, desire for the right things. So, what exactly is your desire? What do you desire? Is it what people say to you, or what you discovered about yourself, and how you want to transform a nation and the people? The next one is taste. It's still part of self maximization. The next point is your taste. What taste do you have as a leader? You need to have a taste. Have a taste of the knowledge you want to represent. Have a taste of the kind of mentors you want to have in your life. You must have a taste, right? You must have a taste. Now, the next point is your evolving process. So self-maximization is about self is about evolving. You've got to evolve. So once you are done discovering yourself, understanding your desires, knowing your taste, then what next? Evolve. Now, when it comes to the visualization process, there is something I call perceive. You've got to perceive. What exactly have you perceived about your brand as a leader? What exactly have you perceived about your ministration as a leader? Number two is sense. What sense do you carry? Right? What pattern is your thoughts? The next point is here. You've got to hear something. What is your inner man telling you to do? What is your inner man telling you to do? What is your inner man instructing you to do? The next one is foresight. You must have foresight as a leader. You must have foresight as a leader. Positioning. Positioning talks about your values, talks about your conduct, talks about your morale, talks about your character, talks about your behaviors. Right. Now, this simply talks about the things you represent as a leader. Don't forget, we're talking about the brand concept of leadership. Now, the next point is culture. Culture. Now, culture talks about principles, your beliefs as a leader, your standards as a leader, systems, and your degree as a leader. Now, degree in terms of how you carry yourself, what people see, how people see you by what you represent. So that's what your degree means here. So self maximization talks about self discovery, your desire, your taste, your evolving process, and visualization talks about what you perceive, your sense, what you hear, your foresight. And positioning talks about values, conduct, moral, character, behaviors, and your culture talks about principles, beliefs, standards, systems, and degree. Now, let's talk about the brand concept of McDonald's. The brand concept of McDonald's. And there is a philosophy that governs the concept of McDonald's. Now, their philosophy says to make delicious feel good, to make delicious feel good moments easy for everyone. To make delicious feel good moments easy for everyone. My point to you tonight is this: as a leader, your leadership or whatever it is that you represent is a brand. Even you are a brand. The way you speak, you are developing a brand concept. The way you dress is developing a brand concept. The way you negotiate with people, the way you talk to people is developing a brand concept. Now, McDonald's says to make delicious feel good moments easy for everyone. Have you ever walked into a McDonald's and feel like not eating what they're selling there? No, you feel like consuming whatever they are offering you because that is the philosophy that governs their brand. So, as a leading leader, right, and as a leader who understands his brand, when people walked up to you, what do you want them? How do you want them feel? Right? How do you want them feel about your brand? How do you want them to feel about you as a person? So you must be conscious of what you represent as a leader. You must be conscious of what you carry as a leader. The next thing I'm going to be sharing with us here says, according to Nielsen Media, there are more than 500,000 brands in the world across more than 2,000 product categories, right? Brands in the world. I'm going to be talking about brands in the world and brands and their philosophies. Now, don't forget, we're talking about a brand concept of leadership. And I take examples out of all this so you can understand what it means to to build yourself as a brand, to build yourself as a brand, right? Now, according to News Media, there are more than 500,000 brands in the world across more than 2,000 product categories. Now, let's talk about brands in the world and brands, philosophies that governs these brands. So that's what we're going to be talking next. All right. Some word brands and their philosophies. Now, like Pepsi says, dedication and performance. That's the philosophy that governs the Pepsi brand, dedication and performance. How this says intelligence, performance, and quality. Intelligence, performance, and quality. KFC says strongly positioned in the mind of the customers. strongly positioned in the mind of the customers. Ben says the bipolarity of intelligence and emotion, the bipolarity of intelligence and emotions. That's why, I mean, Benz is so common in Nigeria, right? Everybody wants to ride Benz. You want to buy Benz, you want to buy Benz. So I think these guys understands the power of their words. They shows their words carefully. Google says focus on the user and all else will follow. Focus on the user. That is, they're saying, let us focus on the user and all else will follow. Today, everyone in the world access Google. You want to ask a question, you go on Google. You want to do is you want to learn how to get something done, you go on Google, right? Right. So that's just it. Metaverse says redefine customers' engagement. Metaverse redefine customers' engagement. Nike says innovation and empowerment. Innovation and empowerment. If you mostly all the sports in the world, I mean, Nike is part of one of the amazing brands sponsoring all the sports, right? And that's just the way it is. As a leader, you must have a philosophy that governs your brand. There's a way you want to present yourself to people, right? Microsoft says empowerment. Intel says improvement. Apple says change the world for better. Amazon says passion and excellence. Adidas says zenith. HP, that is HP laptop, says human progress. And that's what HP laptop means, human progress. HP, human progress. Zara says beauty and clarity. Beauty and clarity. The reason why I'm saying all of this is so you can understand the power of philosophy, the power of the mind that governs a brand. So you must sit carefully to identify how to position yourself for 2024 as a leader. What kind of brand concepts are you going to be imbibing in order for you to lead people effectively and in order for you to lead them to their divine destination? Concept that governs your identity as a leader, right? I have fairness. Fairness is part of the thing that governs your identity as a leader. Be fair, right? Be fair. Now, the next point says stewardship. Stewardship. The next point is growth. You need to grow as a leader. You can't remain in the same spots. Can I say this again? You cannot remain in the same spots. You must grow as a leader. The next point is honesty. Show honesty as a leader. These are what governs your identity. Honesty, growth, stewardship, fairness are what governs your identity. The next point is service. Show service. Be committed to the thing God has positioned in your heart, in your mind to do. Show service. Be committed, right? Show dedication towards the things God has commissioned in your heart to do. The next one is patience. Most leaders are not patient enough, right? You must learn what it means to be patient. The next one is audacity. This is one of my most favorite words, audacity. You must be bold as a leader. Be bold about what you've been called to do. That's part of your brand. That's part of the aura you carry as a leader. When people see you, they see boldness in you. When people see you, they see growth. When people see you, they see honesty. When people see you, they see service. They see commitment to work. They see dedication to service. Let people see let people witness that spirit of audacity in you as a leader. The next point is competence. Is competence. If you want to lead people to their divine destination, or you want to understand more about the brand, about the concept about the concept that governs the brand, your brand as a leader, you must be competent enough. You must be competent enough because when you are speaking to people, you are talking to them about who you are and what you represent. All right, you are speaking to people about who you are and what you represent, even by shaking of hands, by engaging in conversation, without without directly talking about yourself. You're already talking about who you are. So you need to learn all this, right? You need to learn what it means to balance things as well as a leader, right? Pragmatism is important. Pragmatism is important. The next one is courage. The next one is integrity. As a leader, you must imbibe integrity. So these are the concepts that governs your identity as a leader. Why leading leaders are needed, right? I'm going to come back to that later. You know, I'll come back to this later. So let's move to the next. So what sh- what you should do and what you shouldn't do if truly you desire change? What you should do and what you shouldn't do if truly you desire change as a leader. So I've created a bridge between, right? So on the left is what you shouldn't do, and on the right is what you should do, right? What you should do and what you shouldn't do. Don't set the bar too low for yourself. A lot of leaders want to lead and they set the bar too low for themselves. How do you set the bar too low for yourself? By listening to what people say and not listening to what your spirit man is telling you. By listening more to what people say can make you set the bar too low for yourself. So as a leader, don't in any way set the bar too low for yourself. Now, what you should do, focus on production than you focus on promotion. You've got to focus on production than you focus on promotion. The next point says, don't feel less of who you are, right? Don't feel less of who you are. Now understand that you need to learn to verbalize your vision. You must learn to verbalize your vision. That is what you should do. That is what you should learn how to do. Learn to verbalize your vision. Learn to communicate your vision. Learn to openly discuss your vision with people who understands what you represent and what you carry. Quit listening to unproductive messages or news. And what you should do is live by guided principles. A lot of leaders are not where they ought to be or where they should be because they are leading off track, right? They are leading based on unproductive mindsets. And how do people develop unproductive mindsets? By listening to unproductive messages, by listening to unproductive friends, right? So you must learn what it means to live by guided principles, right? Understand the kind of people you need to listen to. Know the kind of people that should speak into your life. That's basically you living by guided principles. Number the next point says avoid gossip. Avoid gossip. Avoid gossip. And what you should do is let everything you do align with your purpose. Let everything you do align with your purpose. What you shouldn't do, avoid unproductive conversation. And what you should do is discover your strengths. Learn to discover your strengths, right? What you shouldn't do, don't attend places you are not invited. What you should do is weigh your options and your choices. Weigh your options and your choices. What you shouldn't do, avoid discussing your dreams with people who seems not to share part in what you carry. What you should do, give yourself permission to reevaluate and to reconstruct. Give yourself the permission to reevaluate and to reconstruct. What you should do next is understand your assignment and ask for direction. Understand your assignment and ask. Now, the brand for direction, winning in leadership. What does it take to win as a leader? What does it take to be ahead of your followers as a leader? Number one, a good leader is a winning leader. Number two says, a good leader takes good care of others. A winning leader or a good leader take good care of others. The next point says winning leaders are exposed to disposition. That is, they are not fit into this position kind of a thing. You can't just give them a position, right? And because of the position you give to them, they see themselves above every other person. That is not the game of a leader. I'm telling you the honest truth tonight. A leader, a winning leader, is exposed to disposition. That is, they just want to lead as God has laid it in their heart to lead. They just want to do what they've been called to do. They are not because of position thinking they are above every other person. How to hell with you on your position. Now, the next point says strength to adjust in tough times. Winning leaders, right, have the strength to adjust in tough times, right? The next point says keeping balance between people, work, and time. Keeping balance between people, work, and time. The next point says leaders who win are growth oriented and not goal oriented. Leaders who win are growth oriented and not goal oriented. Are growth oriented and not goal oriented. Leaders who win regardless of where they are headed, pay more attention to the now and what should be done in the now. You can't say because you have a vision, then forget about what needs to be done in the now. If you really want to lead people and lead self, you must pay attention to what needs to be done in the now. In as much as you have a vision towards your desired future, you must also pay attention to what needs to be done in the now. A lot of people just wait and wait and wait and wait, and they wait for time to happen. You don't need to wait for time to happen. You should be the one happening to time. Don't let time happen to you. Be the one happening to time. Leaders of this kind is stagnation, rather they proceed in every aspect of life, no matter where the storm is coming from. Every winning leader just want to persist. No matter what people are saying to them, every winning leader just want to persist. No matter what they hear from their family members, every leading leader just want to persist. So persist as a leader, no matter where the storm is coming from, no matter where people are blowing the winds from, persist as a leader. All right. Now, here's a quote, right, by the Danny Davids Leadership Institute. It says, leaders who embrace perfection over production are most likely to lead them and cause more harm than good in the lives of their followers and their organizations. Now, let me say this again. Leaders who embrace perfection over production are most likely to lead them and cause more harm than good in the lives of their followers and their organization. And guess what? I have created a brainstorming approach to this dilemma. Understand that your identity and behavior as a leader determines the value you place on yourself and others. All right. Your identity and behavior as a leader determines the value you place on yourself and others as a leader. The next point says the concept of perfection versus production. The concept of perfection versus production. So, in this next slides, I'm going to be explaining the perfectionist leader and a production leader. What do you need to know about a perfectionist and a production leader? Number one, a perfectionist leader embrace speed over quality. Place a paper, just if you have a pen with you and just something down, these are valid points you need to know and you need to take on, right? A perfectionist leader embraces speed over quality, while a production leader embrace value over speed. Now, there are two different things here, right? A perfectionist embraces speed over quality, right? They just want to get there. They just want to get it done. They don't mind the time spent to get such a thing done. Why a production leader, embraces value over speed. A perfectionist leader embraces judgment over correction, while a production leader takes discipline over perfection. I mean, they really want to be disciplined, right? It's not by appearing to people out there you're perfect, but on the inside you are suffering. There are some things you need to do that you're not doing, right? But on the outside, you appear to be perfect. That is not the way of a leading leader, right? That is not the lifestyle of a leading leader, all right? So, a production leader embraces discipline over perfection. A perfectionist leader embraces things over people, embraces things over people like money, material things, right? They don't care about the livelihood of others. They just want to get there. They just want to get everything. It's all about them, not about all them. It's about me, it's about I. And not about us, not about we, and not about them, right? A production leader embraces life over goods. The next point says leader embraces perfectionism over work. A production leader embraces growth over pretense. A production leader embraces growth over pretense, right? A perfectionist leader embraces self over others, while a production leader embraces self with others. There are two different things here. A perfectionist leader embraces self over others, and a production leader embraces self with others. No matter where they're going, their people follows them, right? No matter how tough the journey is, they encourage their people to go with them, right? They embrace their people to go with them. Position over competence. That's the life of a perfectionist leader. Position over competence. Why a production leader embraces disposition over position. A production leader embraces disposition over position. A perfectionist embraces appearance over personality, while a production leader embraces character over appearance. A perfectionist embraces pity on others, while, while a production leader embraces embraces empathy over sympathy. A perfectionist leader embraces, a perfectionist leader actually look down on others, while a production leader focus on people's strength. As a leader, learn to focus on the strength of your people. Learn to focus on the strength of your team. Identify their area of weaknesses and identify their area of strength. All right. There is a power within every man. If you are a leader here tonight and you have a couple of guys working with you or working for you, identify their area of strength and not their area of weaknesses. The next point is this: the concept of perfection versus production, right? Okay, we are still on the concept of perfection over production, right? A perfectionist leader embraces work over family, while a production leader embraces family over work. A perfectionist leader control embraces control over direction, right? I mean, as a perfectionist, you just want to control people. There is no need for guided direction. All you want to do is to boss over people, control them, force them to guess what to get something done. In fact, it's not what the task you are giving these people is not basically what they can do. Right, they're not capable enough to get these things done, but because of your position, you just want to make sure they get stuff done, and it's not supposed to be done like that, right? So, perfectionist leaders embraces control over direction. A production leader embraces leadership over manipulation. A perfectionist gets done over interest, embraces things should be get done over the interest of others. While a production leader care to know over heroes. All right, care to know over heroes. A perfectionist leader embraces perfection. A production leader embraces excellence. A perfectionist leader ex- exposes weaknesses, expose the weakness of others, right? They're not doing so well. A perfectionist leader exposes the secrets, the weakness of others, while a production leader corrects mistakes. A perfectionist leader care about results, why a production leader care about process. A perfectionist leader embrace goals, why a production leader embrace growth. A perfectionist leader use others for self-gain, why a production leader teamwork with others. A perfectionist leader promotes self, why a production leader builds others. Build others. Build others. Now, in my next slide, I'm going to be explaining to us, leaders of concept and culture versus leaders who tolerate the flow. There are two different things here. Leaders of concept and culture versus leaders who tolerate the flow. You know, what really count them apart? Why are they so different? Now, there are leaders who tolerate the flow, and there are leaders of concept and culture. Number one, the leaders of concept and culture create ideas. Leaders who tolerate the flow do what others do. So, in this coming year, don't just do what others are doing, you must create ideas. Be a transforming agent, be a leading agent. Don't just accept what people bring to you. You must cross check before you accept. All right, cross check before you accept. So, leaders of concept and culture create ideas, they generate ideas, while leaders who tolerate the flow do what others do. Leaders of concept and culture know what they want, while leaders who tolerate the flow, you know, others decide for them. They let others decide for them. Why? Because they have no idea of what to do. So when a person doesn't have idea of what to do, it is easy for people to manipulate them and decide their future for them. So in this coming year, understand that letting others decide for you won't take you to your divine destination. You must know what it means to know what you want, right? Leaders of concept and culture become flexible, while leaders who tolerate the flow are too comfortable in their space, They don't want to grow. They just want to keep following the wind. Wherever the wind blows, they goes, right? Leaders of concept and culture admire efforts, while leaders who tolerate the flow ignore personal growth and process. Leaders of concept and culture, right, are open to new methods of ideas. right? They're open to new concepts, while leaders who tolerate the flow are conditioned with a fixed method. The next point says leaders of concept and culture, right? Um, it talks about them being they adapt to things easily and they have patience, while leaders who tolerate the flow work to please others, right? Leaders of concept and culture imbibe mastery, while leaders who tolerate the flow are cool with their current state. Leaders of concept and culture take calculated risk, while leaders who tolerate the flow are scared to take initiative. Leaders of concept and culture do things differently, while leaders who tolerate the flow keep repeating what has been done. Leaders of concept and culture knows where they are headed, while leaders who tolerate the flow wait for others to move for them. Leaders of concept and culture control time and don't let time control them. But leaders who tolerate the flow are caught up in their insecurities. They are caught up in their insecurities. Now, um, let me explain the cardinals or the pointers of what my brand represents. Right, I'm going to be talking about the Danny Davis leadership concept and philosophy, what my brand represents, and where we are headed. Right, what makes us as a brand, what makes us we as a brand, right? So it's what I call the cardinals or the pointers, right? At the Dine Davis leadership, we represent faith, we represent service, we are disciplined. Consistency is part of what we embrace as a body, as a government, as an organization. We embrace growth, we embrace truth, inspiration. We inspire people, we inspire organizations, we inspire entrepreneurs, young leaders, and we inspire businesses, right? The next thing is problem solving. Problem solving. We solve problems for people. The next thing is comfort. 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 Right? Comfort. Okay, when you hear about the Danny Davis leadership, right, you are coming into a place of comfort, a place where you could be you're going to be comfortable enough to tell your problems, and your problems are going to be your problems will be solved. The next one is time. We walk by time. Understand I'm talking about the cardinals or the pointers, what we represent as a body, what we represent as a brand, what we represent as an organization. All right, the next point is respect. Regardless of your position, we respect you. We keep it cool with you. We don't have to fight with you. We don't have to argue, right? We keep it cool with you. We respect you. The next one is commitment. We are committed to what God has deposited in our hearts. We are committed to the vision ahead of us. Family oriented. At the Danny Davis leadership, we are family oriented. We are family oriented. All right. We work with a family mindset. Right? Anyone that comes into our midst, we take you as a family. All right. The last one here says networking. Networking. We network with people. By networking, we connect you with others. So that is the cardinals or the pointers. And that is basically the concept and the concept and philosophy governing our board at the Danny Davis Leadership Institute. So what we do versus the result. Understand, I am talking about the concept of leadership, the brand concept of leadership, right? And I McDonald's was an example. McDonald's was an example, and I'm using my home brand as an example now, right? What I represent is also an example tonight. I'm giving that as an example, what we do versus the result. What do we do? We are family oriented, right? That is family orientation. What we do is family orientation. The result we get out of that is problem solving. What we do is we care for people, right? The result is the people we care for. What we do is we ignite people. The result we get is for them to be inspired, to get inspired. What we do is we build others. The result we want to get from building people is to see them grow, to see them win, to see them build others, to see them inspire others. What we do is we lead, right? We lead. And the result we get out of leading people is direction. We want to give clear direction to people. What we do is what we do. And what the result we get from doing what we do is by encouraging people. We do what we do in order for us to encourage, right? what we, part of what we do is, we are true to ourselves, right? We are true to ourselves, and the result we get out of that is belief and trust. What we do is faith. We speak faith into others. We speak faith into people. We speak faith to our team guys. We speak faith, word of faith, into any single person who encounter us, and the result we get out of that is to conquer. Is for them to conquer, for them to win, for them to be more, for them to be more. All right. Thank you so much for listening tonight. I really appreciate your time. And do me a favor once again, if you are streaming live on YouTube or on Facebook, please share the link with a friend and tell your guys to be here tonight. All right. So my name is Danny David, and I am a lead consultant and a custodian. I am a leadership coach, a leadership consultant, a business coach, ministerial counseling, and family counseling. Also, I also do personal mentorship. All right, that's my number, my email address, my Instagram handle, and my Facebook handle. In case you want to get in touch with me, you want some sort of assistance, or you want us to help you in some ways or areas, then call on us. We're going to respond to you. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate. And now, okay, all right, Mr. Emmanuel, are you there? Okay, seems I'm the only one on the screen now. Before I log out, we're actually going to go on 1 minute break, and we'll be right back. All right, we'll be right back. I'm going to go on a 1 minute break, and we will be right back. Thank you so much. Thank you. Understand, I do not take your time for granted. It takes a lot for you to be here tonight and to be part of what I am doing tonight. All right. Mr. Emmanuel came in earlier and he gave a session, and that's enough for us to take home and to work on as leaders, as young leaders. So I'm going to be attending to the questions I see here. All right. Where are the questions? So I'm going to be attending to the questions I see here. The first question says, interesting. Are there people who naturally have better leadership traits than others, probably by upbringing or nature, or is it everyone just rough at the beginning of their leadership journey? All right. So here's my response to your question. Are there people who naturally have better leadership trait than others? The point is this: neither you nor I have a better leadership traits than others. It depends on how you've been able to grow over time. Right now, I'm going to use myself as an example. I'm not as this fluent when I started. Right, so it depends on the level of training you give to yourself. It depends on the level of growth you give to yourself. It depends on the level of trust you give to yourself. Right, that's why it feels like, or it seems like, some people are actually outsmarting the others. But it's a matter of consistency, a matter of dedication, a matter of growth. You've got to grow as a leader if you really want to be at the top of your game. All right. So I like this question. Are there people who naturally have better quality trait than others? The truth of the matter is, no. Yeah. No, it's not because I'm a leader doesn't mean I have better quality, I have better leadership traits than you, or it doesn't mean that because you're a leader you have better quality trait than I do. It's just a matter of how we've been able to grow ourselves. In one of my slides, I spoke about understanding your area of strength, right? I can't function in your area of strength, and you cannot function in your area of strength. It depends on how you've been able to grow over time. All right. Yeah. That's actually what makes you exceptional as a leader. The next question says, um, okay. The next question now says, okay, I think is this one. It says, are leaders allowed to make mistakes? Yes. Are leaders allowed to make mistakes? Yes. Number three, if yes, how do they correct mistakes that has affected the productivity and morale of the entire team? Seek for guidance. Look for mentors. If you have spiritual mentors around you, talk to them. Leaders are allowed to make mistakes. Nobody is above perfection, right? You are allowed to make mistakes. It's the reason why I make a discrepancy between a perfectionist leader and a production leader. Rather than being a perfectionist leader, because it is leaders who want to be perfect that think making a mistake is wrong in their journey of leadership. Or understand this that you don't have to be a perfectionist leader. All you have to embrace is your work, being a production leader. Be productive. That's what it means that's what the production means there. You have to be productive. Do what you've got to do. Are leaders allowed to make mistakes? Yes. Who told you leaders are not allowed to make mistakes? If yes, how do they correct mistakes? By seeking counsels, look for mentors, and be deliberate about your steps. Be intentional about your growth. You don't want to go back to where you've been, right? Where you've been before. You don't want to go back there. So look for mentors. I'm very sure that people will be really willing to counsel you and to direct you. And most importantly, don't say because you're a leader then you can't voice out your mistakes. If you have the opportunity to see a person who is willing to listen to you, tell them this is what you've done and you need counseling from them. You need them to mentor you, you need them to guide you, you need them to correct you. So correction is allowed in your journey as a leader. Correction is allowed in your journey as a leader. So correct mistakes that has affected the productivity and morale of the entire team. It's still the same thing. Look for mentors, seek for counsels. All right. I believe leaders will really be willing and ready to mentor you and to lead you. All right. Thank you so much for the question. I hope that really answered your questions, though. You know, but I hope that helps. I hope that helps. So leaders are allowed to make mistakes. You're not perfect. No man is above perfection. All right. You're not born to do perfect things all the time. There are times you've got to make mistakes as a leader. All right, Mr. Samuel, can you hear me? And please, we need your face on the screen. Can you hear me? Hello. Hello. Are you there, Mr. Son?